Let's get his take on Japan and bring in Jesper Koll. He's Managing Director and Head of Japanese Equity Research at JPMorgan in Tokyo. Jesper, thanks very much indeed for joining us. So where are we with this all at the moment? And, you know, we continue to see the equity markets now in bad terrain. Indeed, that's according to the official definition of that. So do we have further to fall? And what's the impact of the strength of the yen?
Look, I mean, there's no question that Japan has done a phenomenal job at actually raising market share, raising profitability during the V-shaped recovery that we had in the global economy. So the reason for why profit margins expanded despite the yen being strong is the fact that volume growth has been very strong. Going forward, the worry is on volume growth. How much of a soft patch do we get in the global economy? That's really the million-dollar question. At the end of the day, where are we? I think that the benefits of restructuring, of better productivity growth, will give us profit growth in Japanese corporations on the order of 30 to 40% over the next 12 months. As a result of that, the Japanese stock market right now does actually present a good value proposition.
Does it really? I mean, you know, we're looking at an economy here which is again showing, well, more signs of a slowdown.
Well, this is interesting because, the stock market is down, basically 10, 12% since the beginning of the year. The slowdown in the global economy and the slowdown in the domestic economy, I would have thought that a lot of that is being discounted right now. Look at forward earnings. If you look at PE multiples, you basically find that Topics right now is trading somewhere on 13, 14 times earnings, which is, historically been, a very, very low valuation and a little bit of a buy signal.
What about the yen itself? We've been talking about that. Is there a point where the Bank of Japan actually does say we've got to do something about this and get in there and start buying dollars? What does it do?
Look, I mean, the issue is not intervention, because intervention would just be fighting the symptom. You've got to ask yourself, why is the yen strengthening? And it's not just strengthening against the dollar, but it's strengthening against the euro, as you know, as well as to some extent against the won. And the root cause of currency strength in Japan is deflation. So the big question for Prime Minister Kan, for Bank of Japan Governor Shirakawa, is what can be done to attack deflation. And clearly there's no one magic bullet, but it needs to be a concerted, a coordinated policy effort between fiscal authorities, regulatory authorities, as well as monetary authorities. That's what really needs to happen right now. Intervention is very, very unlikely to happen because you just patch over the symptoms.
Yeah, no doubt we've got one eye here on the September leadership election as well. How do you think that's playing out?
It's very interesting because, as I mentioned, policy coordination is really what's needed here in Japan. And that's why investors right now are quite worried. September 14th, we've got a big race for leadership of the Democratic Party. Is it going to be the old Mr. Ozawa? Is it going to be the current incumbent, Mr. Kan? Quite frankly, Isun Sakiwayami, 3 inches ahead, there's darkness. All that we can say for sure is that prospects of stable politics in Japan right now are unlikely.
Yes, but very quickly, just looking at some of the data, I think on Wednesday we get export figures as well, expecting what, I think 22% export growth, just slow to 22% there from 28% before. We're reading too much into one set of numbers?
No, not really. I mean, look, we know that the global economy has been slowing. There is going to be a volume impact for Japanese exporters here. The interesting thing is, when you look, for example, at Japanese steel companies, the Japanese steel sector, they are actually starting to raise prices right now, which is a good sign, which does suggest that despite the cyclical gyrations that we've got in the global economy, the competitive position and the pricing power of some of Japan's exporters remains very good.
Yes, Beth, great to talk to you. Jesper Koll joining us. He's from JPMorgan.